The NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by NYRA Bets. Bet the Kentucky Derby by using the code SGPN25 for $25 free bet plus a $200 deposit match bonus at nyrabets.com. So SGPN25. Start winning today. And welcome, everybody, to the NBA Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, the second episode of Friday, May 2nd. It's currently 6 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm host episode Scott Reichel, joined again by Lonte Smith. Together, we're going to break down the game for Saturday. Decided to record early because we know the lines aren't really going to change. It is Game 7. We have at least one Game 7. We'll see if we get two, depending on the Rockets and Warriors game tonight. But the Clippers are playing the Nuggets on Saturday night, so we're going to break down that game as the only game we're going to talk about on this episode. Lonte, long time no see. How's it going?
It's been a while, man. Yeah, man. I'm looking forward to the action tonight. Looking forward to the action tomorrow. I'm praying that we get a Game 7, although on the prior show, I did bet the Warriors, but I'd rather lose a little money to make a little bit more in Game 7. So rooting for that. We got some news to catch up on before we get into the game. So, yeah, man, exciting time. It's Friday. I'm ready to roll.
Yes. So starting off with the actual news that happened over the last, I'd say, 10 hours or so. Some coaching news. For starters, the Grizzlies ended up promoting their interim coach who took over for Taylor Jenkins. Did he look good? No. Am I surprised he got promoted? No, because that's literally why they fired Jenkins in the first place. They knew he was going to get the job. Felt like it was really just a trial run. They already knew the answer. I think we'd agree on that. He was pretty much a lock to get the full-time job, and they were going to let him get this season basically as practice reps. That's how I viewed it, and that's what happened. He was not very good, but the Grizzlies were also falling apart, so I guess you can argue that it was a doomed situation no matter what, but the Grizzlies ended up deciding to promote their interim coach to a full-time role, so we'll see how he does moving forward. The other news is the big news, which is not that shocking, but I still have to bring it up. Coach Popovich will not be coaching again. Now, he's still with the Spurs organization. He's joining the front office. But because of health reasons, he will no longer be coaching on the sidelines. That's why he left mid-season this past year and why we did not see him for the back half of the regular season. Overall, I think we'd agree best coach of all time, question mark. You'd have Phil Jackson there. He's definitely in the top three. But either way, Coach Pop will no longer be coaching on the sidelines. Any thoughts there with Pop, either the news or his overall career?
Man, incredible career, obviously. I mean, the accolades speak for themselves. Pioneer literally started the resting your players, guys.
The load management king.
Yeah, he started it and actually succeeded in doing so. So a true pioneer, a guy who basically said, "I hate the 3-point shooting and hate what it's become," and then actually completes a 3-point barrage en route to a NBA title. So, man, a true pioneer of the game. I think, to be honest, I mean, I'm not trying to say that the health thing was like pretty much. I'll say it like this: the health thing, I think he had under control for a while, and they've kind of been working behind the scenes to kind of get things to get him implemented into this specific role versus knowing like, hey, he's not coming back. They probably knew like 2 years ago, hey, he's not coming back. Because they gave him that extension, you remember, and everybody was like, that's kind of weird because he's obviously older and he had been speaking about, how the season has been wearing down. I think he lost his wife a few years back as well, so that kind of took a tear on him. Then he had the health scare. So I think his health has been a lot better than what has been reported, which is great. And I think they just wanted to slide this in to make sure that he's in the right spot. They got their guy to just promote it from within. And I think the guys rallied around him during that time. Although, losing Wemby and all that stuff, kind of getting Fox in the trade was kind of a, I guess, overwhelming part and a lot of moving parts. But I mean, I think the Spurs organization is going to be fine. I mean, especially with him being there and they do things the right way, just the way an organization should be ran. So I got no issues with anything that they do. Congratulations to Pop on a great career. One of my best friends, actually my cousin, is a huge Spurs fan, so I spent a lot of time learning about the Spurs and fighting with him in the early 2000s when the Lakers were going against the Spurs. But I mean, all credit to that organization and what they're going to do and moving forward, because obviously they have one of the best players, best future players in the world right now.
Yeah, so when he initially took a step away, I actually don't know if he ever fully planned on coming back or not.
Yeah,
but then he had a medical flare-up a little while ago. I believe he had a stroke. And at that point, he might have realized, even if I do end up making the full recovery, it's not worth it for me to traveling with the team to be constantly around for an 82-game season and playoffs if they get there. It's a lot physically to deal with when you're that old and you've had physical issues the last couple of years.
Yep.
So I don't know pre-stroke if he would have come back or not, but it appears that they decided, or Pop decided, or all the above, that it was time to take on a new role, still being involved with the Spurs, but not being involved in full day-to-day affairs for actual games, because that's a stressful environment, and it probably was not a good idea for his health to continue pursuing it. The compliment that I'll give Pop is that I couldn't stand him. The Spurs were so good, and I still root for the Nets, who were on the East, of course, the Eastern Conference. They were kind of with Vince Carter at the time, and they were never really threatening.
I love that team, man.
Yeah, same here, but they would always lose in the first round or the second round, whatever. So I ended up basically adopting a Western Conference team. Do you want to guess which team I adopted?
I would say, let's see, OKC?
No. It was a little bit before OKC.
Who was the Spurs?
They were very fun to watch.
Sacramento?
No, it was the Phoenix Suns.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay.
So I used to root for the D'Antoni Suns with of course Nash, with Amari.
Oh,
honestly, pre-Shaq, because I was a big Sean Marion guy too. Barbosa and Raja
Bell.
I love those damn teams.
Yeah. Boris Diaw. Yeah.
Shout out to Diaw. Shout out to Goran Dragic off the bench at the back. Point is, though, I love those teams, and their biggest rival was the Spurs, because the Spurs would beat them every year.
That's true.
And it used to piss me off. You had the Robert Horry shoving incident where half the Suns got suspended for the Game 7. That was a whole joke and a half. Point is, though, I hated Popovich and I hated the Spurs, but it was because of respect, because I recognized how good they were. I recognized that they were always the basically top of the mountain you had to beat in order to win a title. And he created a dynasty in the middle of San Antonio, which nobody really saw coming. Their main success in basketball was basically George Gervin before he showed up. And they became the main, I'd say, dynasty in the NBA. And I feel like that's a testament to how good of a coach he was, how good the front office was. Getting, of course, the Admiral. They had Duncan even transitioning from David Robinson into the Ginobili era with Parker, with Duncan, and even Kawhi. They ran the NBA for about 15, 20 years. And that's a true sign of tremendous, I'd say, franchise just success, just the ability to dominate for that long. And Popovich was definitely the main guy behind the scenes, or even in front of the camera, because he was constantly having the sound bites, and he was kind of like the Belichick of the NBA in a way. You want to make the comp there. So the biggest compliment I will give Popovich was that during his prime, I hated the damn guy because he won all the damn time. And that's because he was very, very good at his job. So props to him. He ruined my Phoenix Suns temporary fandom there with D'Antoni as the coach, because I could not stand watching them lose to the Spurs every year. And they did lose them every year. But either way, props to Popovich for a great career. For Memphis, once again, not exactly a surprising move. They got a lot of other issues on the roster, so we'll see what happens there. For the Spurs, yes, I know it would have been nice to see Popovich mentor Wemby a bit more. He can still do so behind the scenes. He's still going to be involved with the franchise. But he got Wemby there. Hopefully not Cooper Flag, no offense. I can't handle if the Spurs get back-to-back number one overall picks. But they're in a pretty good spot franchise-wise with Fox, with Wemby, and the Spurs should be fine moving forward. So either way, wanted to mention that. I see James agrees with me, saying that he was a Thunder fan, and he had to sit there dealing with the sweats of Kawhi and the end of Parker. If you want to even transition into the bench unit of like Gary Neal and you want to throw in all those guys.
Yeah, they
Eddie Green. So many three-point
shooters. Yeah, they had abundance of guys, man.
Yeah, shout out to Boris Diaw, who I was a big fan of as well. And for not so fun reasons, Tiago Splitter. But either way, point is, wanted to mention that as well. So that was the main talking point there for the NBA. Time to move on into the actual game, though. Once again, we already did the Game 6 for the Warriors series earlier today. This is the Saturday Game 7, the only game on the card, the Clippers against the Nuggets. Before we get into that, though, a reminder that we have a couple ways to support the show. Namely, you can subscribe to the actual YouTube channel. You can also like and leave a 5-star rating and a review on Spotify or Apple. A reminder that this is the same case with a bunch of podcasts on the network, NBA, MLB, tennis, you name it. Point is, you can also leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And also don't forget to subscribe and leave a 5-star rating and a review on Spotify or Apple. But a reminder that we are brought to you by our sponsor, Edge Boost, the first ever bank available for bettors. You can ensure that all your gambling transactions are approved. No usage fees, no imbalance. You can also catch rewards, 100% approval for betting deposits. Sign up today at JuiceBet. Program SGPN. Deposit $25 and get the deposit being matched by Edge Boost, so a free $25 if you deposit that. EdgeBoost.bet, program SGPN. We're also brought to you by NYRA Bets. It's Derby Week at SGPN. It is officially tomorrow, Kentucky Derby. So if you do have some interest in betting on the event, check out the Horse Racing Podcast, Notorious OTB, for all your picks. Plus, you get in on the action of the most exciting 2 minutes in sports with NYRA Bets. Sign up today. Boost your Derby bankroll with a $25 free bet and $200 deposit bonus with promo code SGPN25. Join now to claim your $25 free bet and $200 deposit match bonus at NYRA Bets. Promo code SGPN25. So once again, nyrabets.com/SGPN25. We're also brought to you by MyBookie.ag, because the book that every sport. They have every single thing you can imagine. They have the NBA playoffs, the NHL playoffs. They have MLB as well. They have, of course, the Kentucky Derby if you want to do that too. You can also look at UFC. A lot of options with the props in every game. You can also use it from a ton of locations. You can also use crypto for your link for payouts and deposits. MyBookie.ag, program SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $1,000. For once again, 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply. MyBookie.ag, promo code SGPN. Welcome back, everyone, to the NBA Podcast. Finished going through the news updates for the coaches, for the Grizzlies, and for the Spurs. Time to move on into the main event, the first Game 7, hopefully of 2 Game 7s, but we'll see. Either way, though, you have the Clippers taking on the Nuggets. A very rare situation we have in the betting markets. A road team is favored in Game 7. Something you don't see that often. I can't remember a time I've actually seen this, but you've seen the maybe Golden State with Durant being favored in that 27 straight missed three-pointer game. Golden State was favored by, I think, 4.5 in that game. That might be the last time a road team's been favored in a Game 7 that I could at least remember, but it's been a long time. Anyway, point is, Clippers are laying 1.5. The over-under's at 204.5. The series has been extremely hectic. You saw Denver win the first game. Clippers won the next 2. Denver won the next 2, and the Clippers did win the final game at home yesterday by 6. In Denver so far, Denver won Game 1, probably should have lost, ended up losing Game 2, but they were able to win Game 5 by 16 points. I'll ask you, though, for this game, first of all, who do you think has the actual edge based on either roster or based on I'd say, momentum? And second of all, do you think the Clippers should be favored on the road in a Game 7?
Yeah, we'll tackle the momentum thing first. I think it's no momentum in Game 7s. I think pretty much
I agree.
You brought out all of your, well, not everything, but you've adjusted and countered to what they've done for 6 games. You're going to rely on your core principles and your basic concept. So it's not going to be, it's not going to be a lot of implementing new things on defense or offense. Maybe a wrinkle here or there, but I think it would be complicated to change things. And I actually think that the Clippers have an advantage in this Game 7 due to the, what's the word I'm looking for? Due to the continuity of the coaching staff, due to the experience of that coaching staff. And Adelman, I know he has, his staff is, pretty good, but again, he's calling the shots, and he's not been in this pressurized situation. The Clippers have. They've been in this situation, and they've actually been in this situation with guys that aren't on this team. They weren't fully whole. So I think the Clippers have an advantage to that point. But momentum-wise, I think everything is on the table. Now, as far as the point spread, I'm going to be honest with you. If you told me the Clippers were favored by, 1.5, I would say, okay. If you told me the Nuggets were favored by 1.5, I think that's fine as well. I think it's a true coin flip game. I think they probably is closer to pick. Which, obviously it doesn't, games don't land one a ton, so it's not a ton of value in the number wise. So what I would do is I'm going to take the Clippers on the money line for 2 reasons. The first reason being is that I trust their supporting cast in a clutch situation in a high stakes game. The Nuggets, I trust Joker, of course. I trust Murray. After that, Gordon is going to do what he does, but he's
not going to shoot. He's mostly there just to clean up around the rim. Right.
His upside comes from doing the intangible stuff, the rebounding, the hockey assists, playing the dunker spot. I think the Clippers can and will live with him doing all of those things as long as they limit Joker and Murray as a unit. They're not going to stop both of them, but they can limit them to be, more Obviously, the 5 points probably won't happen again. Joker was extremely aggressive in the first half, which I think kind of tired him out in that second half. So they have to. My thing is, I say hold them under 55 points. If Joker gets 30, hold Jamal Murray under 25, and I think they'll be fine. I think the defense will be amped up. They had a good game plan going in. The Batum thing is the Batum rotation is a thing. I think that's going to play a big factor here.
He's the best role player in the entire series.
Absolutely, and they do a good job of when they're guarding Joker with Batum, that late help. They're sending that late help after the second or third dribble, which is forcing him to, hey, okay, I gotta just score. I can't, swing here. And do you trust Braun or I guess Russ and MPJ with the hurt shoulder? Like, I don't know if I can rely on those guys, but I will rely on Norm Powell to hit shots, Bogdanovich to give us a lot of effort, Zubac to be really good and steady as he's been.
You are skipping over a very big name for the sake of Game 7 when you mentioned supporting Cass.
Yeah, I'm leaving Harden out because
I'm just saying we got to mention him. We got to at least bring him up here.
Yeah.
You mentioned a lot of guys you might trust, but you might not trust the second.
I'm leaving Harden on the outside looking in.
Okay. Just confirming. I'm just
halfway trust. But right. I do think he'll be fine, man. I think, like I said, that Batum unlocks a ton of things for him to be able to attack the rim. And I listened to Austin Rivers, who obviously played with James Harden, and he brought up something interesting, saying about like Harden likes to be on. He likes for things to go smooth. He likes for things to be on time. He's not a real adjustment type of player, especially in game. And I think that Batum opens it up and allows him to, hey, okay, I got the high pick and roll. I can get downhill. I can hit my step back, or I can kick to the corners. Those are three pretty simple things that he doesn't really have to think about. And I don't think the Nuggets defensive coverage is going to, shade him or force him to do anything that he doesn't want to do. So I like the Clippers in the spot, man. I think they win it. I think the Nuggets lose their second Game 7 in back-to-back years at home.
Yeah, so I do want to ask you, I'll start off with the total, actually. Because the Clippers' offense, you can argue, has been more unlocked since they ended up promoting Batum and they basically demoted Dunn out of the rotation for the second half. However, it is a Game 7, and we tend to know these games are very low scoring. It's why this total dropped about 8 points from what it was in Game 6. I'll start off there. What exactly is the game script you're expecting? You're picking the Clippers to win. You think they'll do a good job against Denver's offense besides Joker. I'm assuming that means you like the under in the game.
No, I like the over because I think we're getting a little bit too carried away here. I think we'll see similar to the first half that we saw with the Clippers and the Nuggets. It wasn't a ton of threes being made, but we saw both teams being efficient in their half-court offense. Like I said, I think the Clippers offense is raised up to another level, and that's causing some defensive structure changes for the Nuggets. I think the Nuggets were efficient in their actions as well, especially in that first half. So I'm looking for I can't remember the exact score of the first half of last game. I think it was around like 62-59, 62-58 or something like that.
So you mean the last game is in Game 6?
Yeah, Game 6. What was the first half score?
It was 58-57.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that exact script. I think both teams will play and get into their actions. We got veteran-laden teams for the most part. I mean, a lot of these other, like Brown has played in these games. He just hasn't played this big of a role. Gordon, the core three have been there, so I look for them to be fine. The Clippers, they have plenty of guys who played in big spots, so I look for them to be fine. I don't think that the total should be this low. I think both teams will be able to score. 105 each is, right there. So I think both teams will be able to score offensively. So I'm looking at the over.
I think if I was going to take an over, it'd be the first half over. I think this game's going to die in the second half.
I can see that.
Especially in the fourth quarter.
Yep, I can see
the only concern that I'm kind of running into here, though, is if you are picking the Clippers to shut down basically everybody besides Joker, or at least keep Murray in check to some degree, it sounds like you're picking the Nuggets to finish with like 80-something points, right? I'm trying to figure out how they shut down all those guys while letting Joker do his thing, and Denver still scores like 98. I just don't see it. I think that Denver is going to end up getting a good game from Murray and from Joker. I agree with you about the supporting cast. Serious question mark here, especially Porter Jr. is battling some injuries.
Yep.
I think if Denver wins, though, it supports the under. I just feel like Denver, yes, at times they've been able to expose this Clippers defense. I don't trust the supporting cast. None of us do for Denver. The Clippers, I like the supporting cast. I don't trust Harden. But I can see this game turning into a serious grind. I think the first quarter could be underratedly fast-paced, and then you see the game die. So I think I will go with maybe that's just the second half under when it gets posted, or maybe the fourth quarter under, and I'll go for like a kind of a cute play there for the quarter under. I think this game turns into an absolute rock fight down the stretch. Whether the Clippers are winning or losing, they're going to drain 22 seconds off the shot clock. Harden's going to try to isolate and chuck up a shot. If not, Kawhi's going to do it. But you're going to see a bunch of half-court ugly offense down the stretch, which we saw in Game 6, and that's why the Nuggets almost came back and made the game interesting. But I do think it's going to be a lower-scoring second half. I'll go with that option. Somewhat of an open early game, then it really shuts down late and gets very ugly. So give me a live under, potentially, in this game. Think that the Nuggets, though, are a team that I think are outmatched because the Clippers are the more talented team. However, the Clippers have pissed me off the entire series, so I don't really know what to do with this damn team, because I think they should have won the series in 5 or 6, and they messed around and they blew a couple games that I thought they should have won. So I am kind of on the fence here. But you know what? Give me Denver in altitude. I do question the overall spot for the Clippers because they only have 1 day off, and they played a bunch of guys a lot of minutes, and now they're going to altitude. At least Denver's used to it. Joker, though, is probably going to play, what do you think, like 40? Does he come out of the game in this game?
No, he can't. He can't. If
he plays 48?
So I don't think he can if they have to have a little cushion. I think me and you both talked about it with I forgot what player we talked about who just could not come out of the game. I can't remember who it was, but if they have a little bit.
Do you remember which series we're talking about?
No, I think we're talking about the Lakers. Okay, like with the Lakers, like they were up 7 or 8 in that fourth quarter, and there was time where JJ could have sat Luka and LeBron. Like it was times where, look, you got a cushion, you can sit down. Okay, if it gets to 2 or 3 really fast, then you put them back in for a minute. But at least they get a breather, you get a TV timeout, whatever. So I think that they have to play it like that, because if it's close throughout, I think that favors the Clippers because he can't come off the floor. Whereas Kawhi can be off the floor, Harden can be off the floor, Zubac can be off the floor, and they still will be fine. Now all 3 out at the same time, but they can kind of mix and match those guys and still be fine. With Denver, if Joker's off the floor, I think they were showing his plus minus. I think they're like minus 28 when he's off the floor.
It's not good. I mean, DeAndre Jordan can give you like a decent 2 minutes, but if it's above 2 minutes, you got problems.
Yeah, so I think it's dependent upon the game flow. If they're battling back and forth, similar to what we saw in that first half of Game 6, he's not coming out.
That's also what I'm wondering is going to be the case for the Clippers minutes, because I think that Ty Lue can, in theory, stagger, and he can use Harden, then swap to Kawhi, use some alternating rests there, and then try to put them back in for basically the entire second half.
Yeah.
Joker is going to play at least 45 minutes barring foul trouble.
Yeah.
The question is, will he play 48 minutes? I think he'll sit at the end of the first quarter for a minute or two, but we saw this last year, and Murray was banged up at the time, and Denver was kind of on fumes. They fell apart in the entire second half because the Timberwolves ramped up the intensity defensively, and they knew that if we make the game extra physical and they can't sit any of their star guys, they are going to be completely cooked. And Denver ran out of gas. My concern is that might happen again in this game. I think the Clippers have more luxuries with their roster depth than the Nuggets, obviously, where they can stagger some guys. I don't think Denver has that luxury.
Absolutely.
So Joker probably has to play 46 minutes in this game to have a shot. His PRA is at 50.5. I can't argue that because he should never come off the floor. I like Joker rebounds at 12.5. He only had 7 last game, but just based on minutes and overall usage, I think he has to be involved on the boards. Joker, 28.5 points. He's only gone over this number 1 time in the last 5 games, but he's just going to be on the court for so long, I have to assume him and Murray go over their props. So I like Murray assists, which has been very good in the series so far. It was 5.5 last game. Flew over that number. But I guess the question that I'm asking myself is, do I think the Nuggets run out of gas, or do I think they can actually survive and get by? Clippers have been here before. Tyler's been here before. Harden's been here in a couple of pros and cons, a couple of good and bad moments. He did win the bubble Game 7 against the Thunder. But I'll go Denver. I don't feel great about it. I'm not going to bet the side. But if you're asking which team I think has a slight advantage just based on the environment, I think it would be Denver. And yes, the Clippers can get by if Harden and if Kawhi show up. I have more faith in Jamal Murray in a Game 7 than I do for Harden. And I think that's going to be the deal breaker for me. I think Harden can end up playing 42 minutes, and if he's even slightly below average, the Clippers are going to be in shambles. So I will go with the Nuggets at home in Game 7. They choked away Game 7 last year against Minnesota. I get it. The Clippers also have choked away a lot of games they should have won. We've seen that over the years too. There's pressure on both sides. There's a lot going on. But I think that even though the Clippers are the better team on paper, I think home court actually matters in this case. I'll go with Denver to win Game 7 as the inferior team. That's kind of my hot take there. But I'll back
it's a hot take, though. I think it's a valid take. I mean, I can't like.
Well, the hot take is me backing the inferior team knowingly because I'm just going to go with the environment, even though home court hasn't really mattered that much in this series as well.
Yeah, and part of my handicap was the Clippers have played well there. They played pretty well there. They had their moments, but I thought they played extremely well. They found some things, and this is pre that Batum lineup and just cutting down the Chris Dunn minutes and the Ben Simmons minutes as well. So I mean, I don't think it's hot. I think you can argue for both sides, which is why I think it's a compelling game and going to be a great game as we've seen for 5 games out of the 6, 4 games out of the 6, 4.5. So yeah.
Yeah, give or take. I do want to ask you, though, because we don't know the status of Porter Jr. in terms of effectiveness, they might pull the plug on him. Are we picking a master class or a disaster class from Russell Westbrook in Game 7?
Well,
or neither. Or he barely plays and you barely notice him at all.
But that's a great question. I think you're going to have to rely on him a ton, whether MPJ's out there or not, because of his energy, because of his effort, and you just kind of got to live with the results, similar to what he did in Game 1 and Game 4, where he had 21. Was that Game 4 he had 21? Or Game 5? Yeah. But I think you're just going to have to live with the results, because one thing that's going to be consistent with Russ is going to be his energy, is going to be his effort, and I think you got to live with that in the Game 7, where things are going to get ugly at certain times, where you're not going to be able to score. You got to rely on those hustle baskets. So he
can rebound. On the floor. He can help there on the boards.
Right. So you got to be able to do that. Now, he's not going to be able to knock down shots like MPJ has been. Even despite having that shoulder, he's still a threat, and you can't leave him. Whereas the defense can kind of tilt a little bit to that Jamal Murray and Joker pick and roll. So to answer your question, I mean, cop-out answer, I don't know.
Nobody does. That's
you flip a coin and whatever.
That's the thing though about being the ultimate wild card on a team, because we mentioned the Clippers and their bench options. They have a couple of options there. Westbrook's really the only guy.
Yeah,
so you can make an argument that even though Westbrook has been either very good or very bad, he really might decide the entire series.
Yeah, seriously.
In this game, because he's the only bench guy the Nuggets actually have that might help spell either Murray or, I don't want to say Joker because that's not the same position, but there might be a situation where Joker sits for a couple minutes, they bring Westbrook in, and if he can even give you a good 2-minute stretch where you don't get killed in those 2 minutes, and you can just hold serve while Joker's out, Westbrook can really swing the game in either direction, to be honest.
That's true. Yeah.
Just saying, it could go either way, but I'm going to pick Westbrook to actually play decently.
Okay.
I think the rebounds will be there. I think Westbrook's energy is going to be necessary for Denver to win this game. He might miss a layup. He might bring a couple threes.
But that's going to happen, probably.
But I do think his energy and his activity, whether it involves backdoor cuts, whether it involves even just creating another offensive opportunity on the boards, I think that can be very valuable. And we saw that in Game 1. Because besides the three-pointer at the end of regulation, he was so good on the glass. And Denver has to win the rebounding battle if they want to win this game.
Yeah,
so I think Joker and Westbrook, and even MPJ, Gordon as well, if they all chip in on the boards, I think that's the recipe for success. I think they kind of have to treat it, I don't want to say similarly to how the Rockets play offense, because at least they have Joker and they could actually generate some stuff. But the Rockets like to thrive in basically chaos ball on the boards, and they can try to generate extra chances. If the Nuggets win the rebounding battle, I'm picking them to win. Because I do think that if Harden and Kawhi will go heavy isolation the entire time, which they probably should, and you limit their chances to one chance and you're able to get the defensive rebound, and on the other end, you're generating multiple shots, I think the quantity will add up to enough chances to win.
That's a good point.
So that's where I'm looking for what should be a close game. Denver's been bad at turnovers. Clippers don't turn over that much because of how they play basketball. They could balance out the differential there with the boards. But I'll go Denver at home. Once again, in my opinion, the inferior team. But the Clippers I still don't trust, and I do think Harden, after playing 47 minutes in Game 6, now there's one day off in altitude. Not the best spot for him. Kawhi played 39. I think Joker and Murray both played like 42 or 44, but they're used to the altitude. Give me Murray to have a solid game 7. Give me Joker to play well. A very close game. If you wanted to go out on a limb here and bet overtime at like 12-1,
Yeah, that's not
I
bad. That's
wouldn't
not
stop
bad.
you. I wouldn't stop you if you wanted to bet overtime in that. But I think you're looking at what should be a close game. I think it comes down to the wire. And if it's going to come down to the wire, I trust Joker and Murray more than Kawhi and Harden in the final 2 minutes of a one-possession game.
That's fair.
So that's where I'm going to go with Denver.
That's a fair
But
assessment.
if the Clippers win, I wouldn't be shocked because they just will do the opposite of what I want them to do. So we'll see what happens. But either way, anything else you want to add for this game?
No, I think we pretty much covered it.
You have any props you want to talk about? Because the minutes could be very extreme for the star players.
Yeah. So with MPJ, is he being evaluated to be out, or is he like a game time decision, or what's that about?
No, Porter Jr., as far as I know, is going to play. The only thing is the coach, Adelman, has been very quick to pull him if he doesn't exactly have his A game going, because we know Porter Jr., despite the shooting, doesn't really do much offensively.
Yeah, exactly.
And on top of that, he tends to be, I'll say, a streaky defender, but mostly negative. I'm not saying Westbrook's a good defender either, but at least he'll give you energy. So I do think Adelman will be very strict when it comes to the form that Porter Jr.'s in. And if Porter Jr. struggles early, he might pull the plug.
Yeah, that's fair.
So something to keep in mind.
Yeah,
I wouldn't take it over with Porter Jr. I'd only take under.
Absolutely. I was looking under. That's why. Yeah, okay.
But any other guys you want to target? I mean, Joker's at 50.5. I don't know.
Listen, man. Listen, I'm gonna take a stand on my guy Harden, man. I think he has a good game. I think we see maybe not as good of a game as we saw in Game 6, but I think we see a good, efficient 23, 12 assists, 5 rebound Harden game. I'm going to take Harden over 21.5. I'll mix in the assists as well, but I think he has a really big. I think he has a really. 23 and 12 is a pretty big game in Game 7.
We'll take it.
Yeah, so I think Harden plays well. I think he rolls over that momentum from Game 6. I think the Batum. I keep saying it. I think the Batum lineup is has unlocked him and his vision to do things that he wants to do off the pick and roll. Batum also adds another ball handler. He can ball handle. He can. Obviously he's not the best, but he can initiate offense. Whereas Dunn, you didn't really trust Dunn to kind of do things off the bounce. But Batum off that pick and roll, got to honor him as a shooter. He can spread out to shooters as well. So I like Harden to have a big game in Game 7.
Yeah, I think my favorite prop of this game is actually going to be Kawhi rebounds.
Yeah, man, that's one of my. Yeah, that's going to be my dog.
I think it's very, very low. It's at 7.5. He's at 9+ in 4 straight games, 10+ in 2 of those 4. You can actually get the alt line at 9.5 rebounds at 260, which I think is a great deal. Yeah. If you wanted to go for double plus 220, I'd rather take the rebounds. I think he's got a much better chance of getting the rebounds than the assists, because we know Harden's definitely the assist guy on that team. I'm not pitching a triple-double. He was one stat away from it a couple games ago. I don't even see a triple-double being listed right now, so I wouldn't even consider it. But I think that Kawhi's rebounds are worth a look. He's been good on the boards underratedly, and I think that could be an option you can go with for that one. Anyway, anything else you want to add, or should we move on?
No, man, that's it.
Okay. So before we get into the lock and dog plays for the actual game, reminder, they are brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Click on and pick them for chance of 100 times your money. You can also use their new game ladders. Win up to 500 times your money by watching your favorite players climb the ladder. You can also use the promo code SGPN to get a special pick and a first-time deposit offer, point game with cash on Fantasy promo code NBA SGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm, because they're the home of back picks and props, also available for the NBA playoffs and the MLB prop market, so you can dominate those with Rhythm. You can also build your own model, which is very simple and easy to do. You can also use it for free for a week. 7 free trial, but a reminder, they have a great discount code, different code. They have different codes, actually, for your plan. You can either do a monthly deal with Rhythm or an annual deal. Monthly deal, 25% off the monthly subscription with promo code SGPN25, 50% off the annual deal with promo code SGPN50. That's Rhythm, RATHMN, promo code SGPN25 or SGPN50. Sign up for the free week trial by using the link sportscampodcast.com/RATHMN. Welcome back, everyone, to the NBA Gambling Podcast. Finished going through the one game on the card for Saturday. Time to move on into the lock and dog picks. Lonte, I'll let you go first. What's going to be your lock and dog for this Game 7?
Yeah, I'm just make it simple. I love I don't love, but I like them enough to bet them. I was talking about the matchup advantages, so I'm going to take the Clippers on the road to win. I'll take the 1.5. If you want to go money line to save some sweat on a late game free throw or pointless 3 when they're up 4 or whatever. So I'll take the Clippers minus 1.5. I mean, you took my dog. Like, you basically laid out
Well, you're
everything.
going first. You can do whatever you want.
No, you laid out everything that I wanted to say for Kawhi. I mean, I love the rebounds, 10 plus at 260, the double at 220. I think that's well in line. And the thing that I think has unlocked him is, so they're putting him on Brown and they're putting him on Murray late. So when he's on Brown and Batum is playing Joker straight up, he's basically in like a help side spot. So he's getting more rebound opportunities. And so that's why I think his rebounds has went up. Again, just Batum being the MVP of this podcast. But yeah, so I like Kawhi Leonard, 10 plus rebounds plus 260. If you want to take the double plus 220, I think that's in line as well. So
yeah. So for the lock on the show, I was so torn, man. Because this total, I agree, does feel low based on where it's been, but it is a game 7, so it is definitely being priced in as well. I like the Kawhi rebounds. Thought about that as my potential dog as well. I was actually looking for Batum blocks, but I don't see a price listed for it, so I can't tell what that line would be, so I can't give it out. For my lock, I'm going to go with Kawhi rebounds. I'll just go with the 7.5. Not going to reinvent the wheel here. I think Kawhi's in a good spot for 8. I think he might end up with 10. But I do think that 7.5 is too low at minus 113. I like that price quite a bit. I'll go with that. That's on FanDuel as my lock for the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
For the dog, this is where it gets very, very tricky because I really don't know who I'm going to fully trust offensively for Denver. Joker, you're assuming he's going to have a good game.
Yeah.
Westbrook's points, if you wanted to actually mention Westbrook here, his points are at 11.5, which I don't trust at all. So I can't take that. I thought about it, but I can't do it. I might have to go back to Murray.
Murray's actually. You wanted Batum blocks?
Yeah, I was wondering if you had anything on that.
I see 1.5 plus 170 at Bet365.
What was half a block on Batum?
See, they don't have the half. They just have the 1.5.
They have 1.5? Okay.
Yeah, plus 180. I'm sorry.
Well, looking at the Batum blocks, actually, he had 3 last game, so that could be worth something. I see Murray, though, is at 21.5 points. You know what? I might go with an alt on Murray. If I'm picking Denver to win the game, I need at least 25 for Murray, as you said before. Give me Murray 25 points at plus 190.
I like that.
I'll back the guy that's kind of found his rhythm. He had 43 last game in Denver. I think he'll play well. And if they load up on Joker, we'll see what happens. But that 2-man game, they're going to spam. You might end up seeing Murray take 25 shots in this game.
Seriously.
So give me Murray over his points. Give me Murray 25 points at plus 190 as my dog. Now it's time for the underdog entry for the game 7. Do you want to run back the Murray default points 21.5?
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Okay. So we'll take Murray higher, 21.5 points. I know we both won Kawhi the rebounds there at 7.5.
Yeah.
So I'll add that too. Anything else you want to add?
I like Powell 2.5 threes higher.
Okay.
He played well. He didn't really shoot a ton of threes last game. Let me just make sure that I got my.
He made the dagger 3 at the end.
Yeah, but I think he had like. Okay, man, he made 2 last night. I mean, made 2 in game 6. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I like the threes. He's got 3 plus and 2 of 4. The attempts are what I'm looking at. I mean, 8, 6, 8, 6, 5. Yeah, I like that. I like the and he hasn't shot it well in Denver. 3 I guess 3 of 9 is 33%. But
I was going to pitch you maybe a Porter Jr. lower, but if you want,
I'm down with that. I'm down with that as well. I'm always down with that.
Okay, so we'll fade Porter Jr. because he's injured. His points are at 10.5. I mean, I understand it, but that does kind of suck. What the hell are his assists at? 1.5? Of course it is. Shout out to Michael Porter Jr. Rebounds for this game are at 5.5. Last game, he's actually had less than 5 rebounds in 3 straight. So I don't mind maybe throwing in the rebounds with the points. Do you want to go for the lower 15.5 points and rebounds or just the
Absolutely.
points at 10.5?
No, points and rebounds is fine.
Cool. Sounds good. So once again, the 3-pick underdog entry for game 7 here is going to be the, once again, higher on Murray points at 21.5, the higher on Kawhi Leonard rebounds at 7.5, and the lower 15.5 points and rebounds for Michael Porter Jr. Now, for the upcoming schedule, we do have the second round officially starting on Sunday. A reminder, though, we might have another Game 7, depending on how the Warriors and Rockets game goes tonight. So we're going to break down the actual Sunday games anyway. We're not going to have a separate episode for a hypothetical Game 7. It will be merged in with the Cavs game, I believe, against the Pacers Game 1 there. So back once again tomorrow to get into the Sunday card. Should be a night episode for that. So once again, we'll record that tomorrow night. Till next time, though, if I'm on Twitter Radio, I'm on Twitter.